Welcome everyone to our webinar today. I'm Simona Bivenita from Hermitage Solutions. Let me remind you that Hermitage Solutions is a leading value-added distributor of security, infrastructure, and network solutions. Every month we organize webinars about the most relevant cybersecurity topics. Today in our webinar, we'll talk about data loss prevention and how it helps to secure your company's sensitive and personal data. The presentation will be run by Nicoletta Scutaru, account manager at CoSoSys. But before we start, a few reminders. Everyone of you is muted, so if you have some questions during the webinar, please write them straight to the chat box or directly to Hermitage Solutions. Our email is info@hermitage.lt, and we will try to answer them all. Enjoy the webinar, and I'm giving a word to Nicoletta.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nicoletta, and I do represent Endpoint Protector by CoSoSys. Thank you, Simona, very much for the introduction, and also to our Hermitage Solution, our distributors, for organizing this webinar. Well, thank you as well for taking the time to attend this webinar. And hopefully this will be useful and informative, not only from the perspective of a future Endpoint Protector user, but will also give you some important insights over the DLP challenges and also the possible future solutions. This is the structure of our webinar. Today, we will be discussing about the main challenges a company encounters when choosing a DLP solution, why and how companies manage to lose their sensitive data, how to ensure that your sensitive data is secured on multiple endpoints, and how Endpoint Protector will help you simplify the DLP concept. We'll end up with a demo presentation and with your questions and hopefully my answers. Well, today's biggest DLP challenges. We all know that after the GDPR, the companies of all sizes were practically forced into changing their usual behavior and also adopting new steps or new solutions to protect their confidential data. Quite a lot of the companies, especially the small and the medium companies, were encountering numerous challenges and questions when trying to find the best option for them. One of the questions was, how long does it take to implement a DLP solution? So there is a myth related to data loss prevention that says that it's very complex and difficult to implement such a solution. Well, Endpoint Protector proves the contrary. So as it comes at an out-of-the-box solution, it is cross-platform, and it has a very straightforward and fast deployment. The installation of the virtual appliance and the basic configurations usually take just 1 or 2 hours. And after the trial version ends, if the client finds that Endpoint Protector is suitable for their organization, the trial virtual appliance can be used further by the client, just by importing the perpetual licenses in the virtual appliance. The next thing would be, what resources do I need to run a DLP? So as some solutions tend to get pricey or also have some hidden costs. When choosing a DLP solution beside the DLP licenses, the total cost of implementation is quite an important factor for small and also for medium companies. Because some DLP solutions require more additional tools. For example, several solutions on the market need multiple servers, including a Windows server, a database server, which also means additional cost for the small company. Endpoint Protector, on the other hand, can be deployed as a virtual appliance, which is one of the most simple and also easy way to set up a DLP solution. What are the main benefits of using a virtual appliance? Well, the setup and the deployment of the solution are fast. More, it is simple and easy to use. It is compatible with the most popular virtualization tools, and it is also distributed in different formats and for different platforms. For implementing Endpoint Protector as a virtual appliance, it is only needed one server and a hypervisor of your choice to run the product. Another advantage would be that the solution, the database, the logs, everything comes in the same virtual image. Now for the GDPR compliance, you know that you need to have a DPO in your organization. That person would need to be trained, so you need to know how long is the learning curve for learning a new solution. Besides having a very intuitive and easy to use web management interface, the solution destroys again the myth of DLP being complicated. Even non-specialized personnel can easily understand and use our solution, and it does not require an extensive training, and it can be set up in less than 30 days. Next, what is the client's footprint? So we know it's a very commonly met situations that businesses are very worried about the impact of a DLP solution or any other security solution on the performance of the computer and also of their employees. So a big advantage of our solution is that the client footprint is minimal. Even with all the modules installed and activated, it will not slow down the computer's performance, and it has a maximum of 5% of the CPU spike. Now that we discussed about the main challenges any company encounters with the DLP solution, let us see what do we need to do and why do we need it. So what are the most common potential data loss channels? Well, the most important is the uninformed employees. When it comes to data loss, the human factor is a crucial factor in here. We can cite so many examples of this. So from the London Heathrow Airport security plans that were found on a USB in a public library, or the Snapchat payroll department that was fallen under an attack and was losing the information of more than 700 employees. In all companies, devices full of sensitive data are taken out of the workplace, unencrypted, and are lost or also stolen. Employees also often disregard the data protection practices and transfer the sensitive data over the cloud, storage services, email, messaging applications, and all of this without counting the shadow IT, all the applications and the services that the company has no idea their employees are using to increase their performance or for any other reason. Well, DLP solutions allow administrators to define sensitive data as applied to the specific company or to the specific industry. So this can mean predefined personal identifiable information, things like social security number, credit card numbers, passports, date of birth, and so on. But it can also be customized on a specific industry, like medical records, the software code, copyrighted content, regulations on specific profiles for sensitive data as are defined for the GDPR security regulations, the HIPAA, and also others. So how to ensure protection and simplify the DLP policy management? First of all, provide training on security awareness. For better cybersecurity protection, access to sensitive information is better to be limited on a need-to-know basis. And it is important to include also real-life examples into your employees' training. They should be very aware of their responsibilities and their accountabilities when they're using the computer or any external device in their business network. It's important to invest in the right security technology, independent on your company's size. These measures are needed in every business industry because sensitive information must be protected wherever it's stored, sent, or used. Of course, it is important to have traditional perimeter and network security like firewalls, antivirus systems. Businesses should consider also a layer that would approach and include the internal threats as well. So this is where data loss preventions come. They help you restricting the end user from sharing the confidential information, from transferring this confidential data from the corporate network, and also to control and block all the unauthorized devices or send of the document, transfer of the documents. The DLP solutions will help you in both the data in transit and also for the data at rest. So in our days, we know that the data loss threatened businesses of all sizes, and deploying such a solution is a requirement not only for the large companies, but also for the small and the medium-sized enterprises. Also, we have the GDPR, so beside the GDPR, we have to comply with a lot of data protection regulations, which is an indication that the companies are accountable for how they manage the data privacy, the people's data, the client's data, and so on. Beside that, when organizations prioritize the content protection to meet any data protection regulation, they have a much better chance not only to prevent the data leakage, but also to avoid fines, reputation issues as well. So the best way to ensure the compliance is by creating a data security policy that will keep the data safe from risks both inside and also outside of the company. 2018, we know, was an important year in terms of consumer privacy laws and also different other regulations on a global scale, not only for Europe. Some of these regulations impact the specific countries or territories like the GDPR, the California Consumer Privacy Act, while others like the PCI, DCS, the HIPAA focus on particular industries. Within the healthcare environment, the HIPAA regulates who may see and use the protected healthcare information such as patients or names, IDs, social security numbers. Many countries have data breaches notifications laws that require both private and public entities to notify individuals of breaching of their data, personal data, outside of the company. So you should perform regular vulnerability assessment. This will help you to identify, to classify, and also to prioritize the security threats, as well as determine the exact risks that are posed to your organization. Understanding the specific information that should be protected and what devices should be authorized will help you to create relevant policies in the DLP solution you're using. Any DLP solution will require you to understand exactly what you want to protect. So now I would like to show you exactly how our endpoint protector solution will help you through getting compliant with GDPR or with any other regulation, and just making sure that your confidential information of the company is staying on the computers from your network. I will start with a very short introduction for our main solution, Endpoint Protector. So it offers a 100% deployment flexibility. The product has a server-client architecture. The server part comes as a hardware appliance, as a virtual appliance, and it can also be delivered in cloud, in your own account of Amazon, Microsoft Azure, and also in Google Cloud. It offers a lot of scalability, the virtual appliance and also the cloud appliance. It's compatible with multiple virtualization tools. It's up and running in just a few minutes. And we, as well as our partners, will be glad to help you with any configurations, policy configurations, or anything you go through when figuring out or setting up the DLP solution. These are the main modules in Endpoint Protector: the Contentaware protection, device control, enforced encryption, e-discovery, and the mobile device management. And I will further go on the exact interface in order to show you how exactly we handle Endpoint Protector data loss prevention. You will be able to access the user interface using any web browser just by accessing the IP on which the virtual appliance was set up. You will be able to use your credentials, in case you do have them correctly set up from the beginning. So this is the interface of Endpoint Protector. Device control, content-aware protection, e-discovery, and enforced encryption are the four main modules that will help you to control the transfer of the data. Device control and content-aware protection, these two are our scanning data in motion. So the client will start the scan only when the transfer is initiated, which again makes our client very light. E-discovery is the module that will scan the data at rest, will help you identify whether your employees have confidential information stored on the computer. And this will help you with the GDPR compliance, because you will be able to look for a specific name of your client or some specific confidential information. you'll find the file, you'll see the name, the location, and you'll be able to encrypt, decrypt it, or delete it. And the fourth module, the enforced encryption, it comes as an addition to the device control module. And it will help you to make sure that any information transferred to an USB device is going to be safe, because it's going to be encrypted with the EasyLock application, which is again cross-platform for Windows and Mac computers. Endpoint Protector is cross-platform for Windows, Mac, and also we do monitor Linux devices. I'll start with a short presentation for the device control. And here at Global Rights, you can see a list with all the devices which are managed and protected by our solution. And this is one of the most complex lists of devices from the market. You'll find here USBs, CDs, local printers, webcams, Bluetooth, where we go very granular. And for each of these devices, you're able to set up different rights, like deny access, allow access, read-only access, allow access if the device is trusted device, level 1, 2, 3, or 4. And by trusted device, we mean that the device is encrypted in a specific way. For level 1, recognize our encryption solution EasyLock. For level 2 and 3, we recognize other encryption solutions like software encryption, FileFold, BitLocker. And for level 4, we recognize the hardware encrypted USB devices. The level 1 plus or 1 plus, otherwise read-only, work together with the enforced encryption module. For 1 plus, any USB device connected to the computer will be automatically encrypted with the EasyLock application. 1 plus, otherwise read-only, will allow the end user to decide whether to use the USB device in read-only mode or if he should encrypt it in order to copy data. The next thing you need to know about Endpoint Protector is that each device is recognized based on the vendor ID, the product ID, and the serial number. So you can have deny access for all USB devices on the global level, but then authorize just some specific devices with allow access or with the read-only access. You can also create groups independent to the projects or to the departments of the company and set up the right based on the group. By default, it will preserve the global settings, but if you change it from here, it will override what has been given before on the global settings. The authorization of any USB device or any other device is possible on all the levels: global, group, user, and computer. So these will be the also the levels of priority. The global rights will have the lowest level of priority. Afterwards come the group, the user, or the computer. You can set up which of these two is going to have a higher priority, and the devices have the highest level of priority. After you have the client installed on the computer, you'll see all of the protected computers in this list. You'll see whether they're licensed, whether they're online, the IP address, the user, the computer, and you'll be able to set up the right based on each computer in particular. After you have defined all the rights in the device control, you'll have the possibility to see all the actions in reports and analysis. For device control, we have 3 levels of reporting: logs report, file tracing, and file shadowing. In the logs report, you'll find all the events, even for those employees that had no specific rights. So say there was a policy received, the device was unblocked, connected, deleted. You'll see the computer, the main IP, the username that was logged in at this moment of time, the device that was used, the type, the name, the date and the time on the client and also on the server. In the file tracing option, you'll see the information for the employees that had the possibility to copy data to their external devices. So beside the information about the employee and the device that was used, you'll see the exact file name and the file location that was transferred to the external device. The file type, and again, the date and the time on the client and also on the server. The third level of reporting is the file shadowing. And if you do have this option enabled, then every time somebody transfers some file to an external device, the client creates a shadow copy of the file, which is saved and stored on your server. And you as the administrator are able to download it in order to look inside and see what kind of information was inside. You can decide whether you want to have file shadow copies for any file, or you can limit it based on the file size, based on the file type, or this option can be enabled only for some specific computers or groups, so you do not need to have it for all the computers in your network. I'll continue with the second module, Content-Aware Protection. The Content-Aware Protection module will control the transfer of the information to online applications, and it works through a few policies. You can see here different policies with different degrees of priority for different operating systems. So the first thing you'll have to do is to create a new policy, select the operating system, since the applications are different for Windows, Mac, or Linux. Decide whether you want to block a report, report only, or block only the transfer of the information. Set up a specific threshold, define what exit points you'd like to monitor, and you have here a list with applications like web browsers, email clients, instant messaging applications, cloud services, and social media. You can also monitor the transfers to storage devices, and in this case, you'll not simply allow or deny their access, but you'll block only the transfer of the confidential information to those storage devices. You can monitor the network share, the thin clients, block the clipboard, block the print screen, and monitor what is being transferred through printers. The third step would be for you to define what information is confidential, and we have a few filters for that. The first one is based on the file type. So in here, you will be able to block any files, Word files, Excel files, independent on their content. So this is mostly used for the most restrictive policies. The next filters are based on the content, the source code, the predefined content, where you'll find credit card numbers, social securities, IDs, passports, phone numbers, and so on. You have the custom content where you can create your own dictionary with words. You can either upload this with names, or you can create your own dictionary like internal use, confidential, sensitive, and so on. Based on the file name, you can create also a dictionary with regular expression, and HIPAA is used for the healthcare industry. The last step would be for you to define what entities should this policy be applied to. And afterwards, you'll have all of the policies in this list. And in reports and analysis, in Content-Aware report, you'll see exactly how did your employee try to send the information. You'll see whether it was blocked or reported, the computer, the user that was logged in at this moment of time, the policy name, the destination time, Chrome, which is a web browser, the policy name was Test Nicoleta. You see the file name and the file location that was transferred, and the first confidential item that was discovered inside the document. So Visa card was discovered. The document was blocked because it was a PDF file. You'll see somebody tried to send the information to a USB device. So you'll see the exact reason why was this blocked. And again, the date and the time on the client and also on the server. The file shadowing functionality works exactly the same. You'll be able to have a shadow copy of the file that was tried to be transferred to an online application. This was pretty much everything about content-aware protection. I'll move to the e-discovery part. E-discovery is the scanning data at rest. It works through the same kind of policies as content-aware protection. So you would have to create a policy, select the operating system, define what information shall we be looking for based on the file type, source code, the predefined content, the dictionary, the file name. You can also scan only a particular location, regular expression, or HIPAA. Afterwards, you'll need to save the policy for the computer, group, or department, and you'll need to initiate the scan. You can start a clean scan on a particular computer, start an incremental scan that will scan only the newly added files or the ones that were recently edited, stop the scan and clear the logs, and inspect the found items on this particular computer, or you'll see all the results and actions in this menu. And from here, you'll see the file name and the location, the reason why was it discovered as confidential, and you'll be able to encrypt it, decrypt it, or delete it remotely from here so that the employee will no longer have access to it. And we got to the last module, the enforced encryption. After it works together with the device control. So after the EasyLock application was pushed to the EasyLock to the USB device, you'll be able to see it in this list, and you'll be able to manage it. You'll be able to see some relevant information about this device, like who was it created by, who was it encrypted by, the vendor ID, product ID, the serial number, what computer was it last seen on, who was it created or modified by. You'll be able to send a message. For example, please bring this device to the sales department. Resend the master password, change the user password, or reset the device in case you do not want that information to be used any longer. You'll also be able to decide whether you want to allow your employee to use the confidential information on any computer, or if he should be restricted to use it only on the computers from your network. So in case he takes the USB device at home or to a competitor, even though he does know the password of the encrypted partition from the USB, he will not be able to access it. He will be able to access the unencrypted area though. You can enforce the use of a complex password, require the user to change the password, monitor what kind of files were transferred even when the device was offline, or the file tracing will work exactly the same. You'll see the reports and analysis, all the information that was encrypted. So these were the main functionalities of Endpoint Protector by CoSoSys. Besides that, you would be able to set up some specific alerts in case you'd like one of your administrator to receive email alerts in real time for connecting devices, copying data. We have Active Directory integration, CM integration that will help you to manage easily this solution. So this is pretty much everything we do. We also offer a 30 days free trial in case you'd like to test the solution in your own environment and see how it works. And all the modules are going to be activated during this time. We do encourage you to do that. And we really hope you'll enjoy testing our solution. If you have any questions, feel free to let us know.
Thank you, Nicoletta, for interesting demonstration. And right, we can move to the questions part, and we have got a few questions. So I think we can start. First question, how long does it take usually to deploy a CoSoSys server in virtual infrastructure?
So the virtual appliance of Endpoint Protector can be downloaded from our website directly. The most time-consuming part is actually downloading the virtual image. It takes 1 or 2 hours. Afterwards, it takes approximately 30 minutes to set it up. You just need to set up an internal IP, deploy the clients, so it's 30 minutes.
Okay, the next question. If users attempt to share sensitive information which is inside a password-protected Word document, can CoSoSys stop it?
Yes, this is also possible. Through the Contentaware protection module, you will be able to block the password-protected Office files.
Okay, thank you, Nicoletta. One more question. If the end user is offline, does the CoSoSys protection still apply?
Yes, it does. The client from the computer is going to protect the computer even if it is taken offline, has no internet connection, no network connection. So it is going to be protected and preserve the last writes that were received from the server. For this specific option, we do also have the offline temporary password that will allow the end user to use a specific device even when the computer is offline. This option is also allowed to be tested during the trials, so the answer would be yes.
Speaking about trials, is the trial fully functional or there's just part of the product involved?
The trial is going to be fully functional, and anyone can test all the modules on up to 50 computers, Windows, Mac, and also Linux computers.
And the last question, does the solution operate into a closed network?
Yes. Endpoint protector can work in a closed network. The communication between the client and the server will be enabled through an internal IP, and we will be able to send you offline patches for updates, for feature activation, and so on. So it's perfectly functioning in closed networks.
All right, thank you, Nicoletta. This was the last question, so I would like to give you a special thanks for the presentation and demonstration. I believe it was useful for all of us. And also I would like to thank you for everyone for joining us as well. We appreciate your continued cooperation and working with us. And lastly, if you have got some questions during the webinar but didn't have a chance to ask those questions, please submit those questions to us and we will make sure that all the answers will be answered later on. So thank you everyone again and have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.